watchdog like Amnesty International have frequently characterized these recurring presidential orders as repetitive and ineffective, arguing that tangible safety outcomes on the ground remain scarce. So Amnesty International has rendered all the directives that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given. Amnesty International described this as repetitive and ineffective. So that means that in essence, in a layman's language, what the president has been saying all this while, that just okay, let me just give a statement so that they will not say the president did not say anything. Let me just issue a statement. That is what it means. Ineffective. You're just doing it because you want to do it. You are not a leader because you want to be a leader. You are a leader because there are things that need to be fixed. You are not a leader because Nigeria needs, because of election. Election is just a platform for you to be elected. The reason why you are elected is not because election must be held every 4 years. No. The reason why you are a governor is not because of election. The reason why you are a president is not because election must be held every 4 years in this country. It is not because election must be held every 4 years in this country. Amnesty International characterized these recurring presidential orders as repetitive and ineffective, and that is it. Ineffective. No security agencies, none of them are carrying out this directive as they should. This directive are not being carried to the letter as they should, because if they are actually carried to the letter as they should, we will not be experiencing these recurrent attacks in the country. Government officials and spokespersons consistently maintain that each directive serves to recalibrate tactical operations, compel interagency cooperation, and direct targeted deployment to vulnerable zones. Government officials and spokespersons consistently maintain that each directive serves to recalibrate tactical operation, compel interagency cooperation, and direct targeted deployment to vulnerable zones. So if these directives are meant to serve a particular purpose at every directive that the president gives, so why has there not been improvements? Why had there not been improvement? Why do we still have communal clashes? Why do we still have villages, communities being attacked by armed bandits? Why do we still have people in their villages being abducted by armed bandits? Now, I want to give now all the directives because we if we want to measure our level of success when it comes to insecurity, we must go back we must give historical perspective of what happened, of those directives that the president has been giving since 2023. And I got this from a reliable source online this morning. I will not tell you where I got it from. Amid the rising insurgency situation Nigeria is faced with, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Wednesday, this is not yesterday, this is a publication, this is a publication about 2 years ago, last year, 2025. All right. Amid the rising insurgency situation Nigeria is faced with, President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday issued a nationwide security directive aimed at strengthening the country's defense system against terror threats and banditry attacks. The Presidential Security Directive is aimed at boosting manpower, improving synergy among security agencies, ensuring community security watch, and enhancing crisis management between farmers and herders. Now, number 1, national security emergency. President Tinubu stated that in view of the emerging security situation, I have decided to declare a nationwide security emergency and order additional recruitment into the armed forces. By this declaration, the police and the army are authorized to recruit more personnel. The police will recruit an additional 20,000 officers, bringing the total to 50,000. This statement, the president made this last year. Has the police recruited any personnel into the force? Has the army recruited any personnel into the service? The president gave that 20,000 officers be recruited to total 50,000. Has that been carried out? That is to know, that is how you know if a country is moving forward or not. Another directive towards insecurity: use of NYC camps for makeshift training grounds. Tinubu also approved the use of National Youth Service camps as a makeshift training ground for the emergency police training facility. He said, although I had previously approved the nationwide upgrade of police training facilities, the police authorities are by this statement authorized to use various National Youth Service Corps camps as training depots. So what happened to that? Of course, they cannot be training if the police has not recruited any personnel. So this directive is still lying shallow. It's still unattended to. Now, another directive, Directive 3, retaining of officers withdrawn from VIP duties. Tinubu deployed for VIP duties withdrawn to tackle the rising insecurity threats, saying the officers being withdrawn from VIP guard duties should undergo crash training to debrief them and deliver more efficient police services when deployed to security challenged areas of the country. That directive was given last year. Has that been carried out? Okay, well, few days after that, the police command in Lagos gave some information, gave some details as to areas where VIPs will be deployed, will be withdrawn, as to where police will be withdrawn from their VIPs. Now, has that been followed up? Is there a follow-up to that? All the 36 states and the FCT in the country, police that are attached to VIPs, have they been withdrawn from their VIPs? Have that directive, has it been carried to the letter? Okay, has it been carried to the letter? Because I expect the police at maybe every month give the public reports that in Lagos State about 25, 150 or 100 police attached to VIPs have been withdrawn. In Kaduna State, in Oyo State, in other states, I expect the police commissioner of police in that state to give details about how many police so far, how many police officers have been withdrawn from VIPs. See, you can detect, you can predict a country that will move forward based on things they do afterwards. You can predict a country that will make progress if the president, if the leader of that country issues directive. You can detect, you can predict. It is predictable. But since that directive was issued about 8 months ago, 8 months or 7 months ago, since that directive was issued, the police, none of the police, apart from the ones that the Lagos State gave that initial announcement, none of the state commissioner of police have publicly disclosed how many police officers have been withdrawn from VIPs. That is that. Another directive. Okay. Deployment of DSS officials for forest operations. He also declared that the DSS also has my authority. Okay. He also declared that the DSS also has my authority to immediately deploy all the forest guards already trained to flush out the terrorists and bandits lurking in our forest. The agency also has my directive to recruit more men to man the forest. There will be no more hiding places for agents of evil. But when abductions are being carried out or when people are being kidnapped, these armed bandits, they take their victims to the forest. A perfect example is what we witnessed in Oyo State on the 15th of May, where more than 40 innocent Nigerians were abducted from their schools. Where were they taken to? To the forest. So the DSS that President Tinubu, said that they should be deployed to the forest. Is the Overt forest not part of the forest? Another directive. Deployment of forces to terror-prone areas. President Bola Tinubu also ordered security operatives to be deployed to terror-prone areas, saying, "My fellow Nigerians, this is a national emergency, and we are responding by deploying more boots on the ground, especially in security-challenged areas. The times require all hands on deck. As Nigerians, we should all get involved in securing our nation. We will continue to sustain the efforts to rescue the remaining students of Catholic school in Niger State and other Nigerians still being held hostage." Okay, that of the Catholic school, I think the remaining students have been, have regained their freedom. They've been released. All right. Another directive. Tinubu orders accountability in military institutions. President Tinubu said to the leadership and rank and file of our armed forces, "I commend your courage and your sacrifice. This is a challenging moment for our nation and for the military institution itself. I charge you to remain resolute to restore peace across all theaters of operation and to uphold the highest standards of discipline and integrity. There must be no compromise, no collision, and no negligence. The Nigerian people are counting on you, and this administration will provide the support you need to succeed." All right. NAS to review legal framework on state police, which is currently in view. All right. Another directive. FG, support for state security outfits. Tinubu added, "In addition, our administration will support state governments which have set up security outfits to safeguard their people from the terrorists bent on disrupting our national peace. States should rethink establishing boarding schools in remote areas without adequate security." How many of these state governors have yielded to this directive? There are still schools that have boarding facility in remote areas that are not well secured. I remember when I was doing my youth service in Kaduna State, we went for an evangelism, program in one of the villages, and there are boarding schools in those villages, and although we did not experience banditry while I did my service in Kaduna State. Thank God for that. And it never came to my mind to think about, but how can these people have a school here, a boarding school here, and this is a village? The schools are not gated, no form of security, it is just porous. So our governors, let us be thinking futuristically. Let us think about the next 10, 15 years. Because we do things for today, we don't do things for tomorrow. We commission bridges for today, we don't commission bridges for tomorrow. We build schools just for today. We don't think about the safety and security of these students in the next 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. These are the things we're supposed to be thinking about. You don't just build schools because you want to build schools to impress people, so that people will clap for you. You do it intentionally, you do it deliberately. The schools that you are putting in place in that village, in that community, have you thought about the future threats of that school? Have you thought about invasion? What security measures have you put in place? All right. The last one, another one says, religious leaders to seek security protection. President Tinubu orders that mosques and churches should constantly seek police and other security protection when they gather for prayers, especially in vulnerable areas. Call on Herders Association to embrace ranching. President Tinubu concluded saying that our administration created the livestock ministry to address the persistent clashes between herders and farmers. I call on all herder associations to take advantage of it, end open grazing, and surrender illegal weapons. Ranching is now the path forward for sustainable livestock farming and national harmony. The federal government, in collaboration with the states, will work with you to solve this problem once and for all. And the big question is, after this directive was given by President, are there not still cows roaming along the street, roaming in roads? So what was the essence for this ranching that was established? What was the essence? What was the purpose for? There are still cows. There are still people who take cows, across the road where I stay. There are cows there feeding on grasses. So whatever program, because the problem of Nigeria is that whenever government, establishes, something or put in place a program, this program, it doesn't get to the people that are directly affected. That's just the problem. It doesn't get to the people that are directly affected. The man that has 10 cows in your community, what is the purpose for the ranch that the government said that they are putting in place? So, in all the directive I've given so far, has it been able? In all this directive, have they been able to end Nigeria security crisis? Lagos, this is how far I can go this morning here on Overt Radio. 10 o'clock, Bukola Olowala Fair will bring us a news update at 10. This breakfast show has been brought to you by Liveback Pharmacy and Stores Limited, marketers of Ogama QS soft gel and anti-malaria. Tomorrow will be Thursday. We hope that you will spend your breakfast with us, and I want to appreciate our listeners for being here with us since 8 o'clock to now. All right, so don't go anywhere. Enjoy the rest of the show. 10 o'clock will be the news